is Introduction to Logical Fallacies. Fallacies are common errors in reasoning that will undermine the logic of your argument. Fallacies can be either illegitimate arguments or irrelevant points and are often identified because they lack evidence that supports their claim. Avoid these common fallacies in your own argument and watch for them in argument of others. And the first one is attack the argument, not the person. An ad hominem argument is used to counter another argument. However, it is based on feelings of prejudice rather than facts, reason, and logic. An ad hominem argument is often a personal attack on someone's character or motive rather than an attempt to address the actual issue at hand. This type of personal attack is often witnessed in debates, in courtrooms, or politics. Often the attack is based on a person's social, political, or religious view. There are four types of ad hominem: abusive, circumstantious, guilt by association, and to co-create.
The next fallacy is don't threaten in order to win an argument. It's like using fear to influence and affect the public or people's reaction to an argument. For example, if you don't graduate from high school, you will live in poverty for the rest of your life. Or teachers that uses the argument on students when they threaten to fail them for not agreeing to the teacher. Why? The third fallacy is don't beg. The fallacy don't beg also means appeals to pity. It's like an arguer attempts to evoke feelings of pity or compassion, but it is not logically relevant to the arguer's conclusion. For instance, a conversation between me and a lecturer. Like I'm saying, "Sir, I know I did not do well in my finals. But if I fail these exams, my family will be very upset. Can't you give me more marks?" It's not even related to the conclusion. I'm applying appeal to pity fallacy.
Next, avoid appealing to authority. This is an insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority or an expert on this issue says it is true without any supporting evidence. This fallacy should be avoided because a proposition or a premise can be supported only by facts and logical valid inference. For an example, a commercial claims that a specific brand of cereal is the best way to start the day because athlete Michael Jordan says that it is what he eats for his breakfast every day. Moving on to the next fallacy, it is not a popularity contest. This is also known as appeal to popularity. This popularity is used for a premise or proposition as an evidence for its truthfulness. Agreeing with majority might feel comfortable or safe, but majority doesn't make a point of view correct. For an example, it might be against the law to drink when you are 18 years old, but everyone does it, so it's okay. So in this example, people knows that drinking when you are 18 is wrong, but just because everyone does it, people think it is not wrong to do.
Appeal to ignorant is also known as argument from ignorant, is which ignorant represents a lack of evidence and become a fallacy in informal logic. The consequences for these fallacies is because of lack of knowledge and insufficient information about a specific situation, whether it is true or false. For example, no one can actually prove that God exists, therefore, God does not exist. The second one, don't fall victim to fall cause, is also known as post-harm. The definition of fall victim to fall cause is assuming that an event must have been the cause of a later event because it happens earlier. For example, in America, President Jonas raised taxes and then few months later the rate of crime went up. Jonas is responsible for the rise in crime.
Next, I'm going to introduce in the 8 logical fallacies, which is avoid acidity generalization. I have a friend who wear glasses. Their favorite food is green beans. So, everyone who wear glasses love green beans. It is an example of acidity generalization argument. So, most commonly, acidity generalization argument will be draw conclusion that based on a sample size, in a small sample size like a small quantity. So, the main aim for acidity generalization is we need to make sure that the information is accurate or conclusive. So this is extremely difficult in argument. So to identify an acidity generalization, we need to have a critical thinking skills. Like first step we need to take it like we need to analyze it by giving an opinion. So if like a person have their own objective and subjective, it's their valid reasons why. And secondly, we need to check whether the sample size of the person is in a conclusion or in an introduction. So we need to know the responsive from the person. And finally, we will check the source of evidence from the person that used, so that the statement is invalid. Before jump into a conclusion, as a human being, we need to think properly and carefully before we make a judgmental on an argument. Because although we have 8 logical fallacies, still some of the people who jump into an argument with a wrong perspective. So we need to have a little or non-evidence is provided for review, like conclusion will be made, still will be made. So whenever you need to do a conclusion, think before you make a judgmental.